What is life after death? This is the one of the question people come across one or another time in their lifetime. Everybody comes across this. When we see somebody dying, then we actually realize, one day there is a possibility it will happen with me also, because it has happened with others, so it will happen with me also. And that time we sometimes start thinking what happens. But the mystics always think about it, and they give thought to it. And sometimes you will hear from the mystics, they will say, I am ready. And they die happily. They die in trance. They celebrate their death. They don't get afraid from the death. That is not a dark place. It's just a part of life. It's just a part of game. So what happens when we die? If you want to get the answer of these questions, first you must learn the meaning of life itself. What is life? Why we are born? And then you will ultimately get the answer. What happens after death? What is death? What is life? Life is not a stationary local thing which happens from your birth till death. No. Life is a continued process. Life is the continued process of consciousness. The total consciousness of this world. Some people call it God. Some people call it super consciousness. It's just force. The meaning is same. The perception is same. God, super consciousness, Allah, Krishna consciousness. You can name it in different ways. Or you can just don't name it. The best thing is to feel it, to be with it. So life, you may have heard, life finds its way. When it borns, when it dies, it's just a perception for the surrounding. So what happens when we born? The birth. Two materialistic parts of the cells come together to make one DNA, a one cell organism, and then it start dividing, start projecting to make multicellular being, a plant, animal, a human being. I start consuming from the surroundings all the 5 elements to create a form. So before that form, there was nothing. There are different cells, millions of cells are there. Parental cells I'm talking about now. But all of them doesn't come together. All of them doesn't make a multicellular being. Only few. Only 1 or 2. So what happens here? There is a materialistic cells which the parents gives the seeds, but there is life required for that. What is that life? This is Holy Spirit. This is Atma. But I name it also consciousness. a quantum of consciousness, which descends from the superconsciousness in metaphoric form and express itself in the materialistic world. If you want to express something in this materialistic world, you have to use the 5 elements from here. So the consciousness uses these 5 elements to create your body. That's why we never find that consciousness. Consciousness is outside the body. It is just projecting something using a small program to make a photo. Like you see a photo on the screen of your computer. It's not the same what you see. Actually, these are the electric impulses. 0, 1, binary language. One time there is electric, one time there is no electric. Depending upon this, we make a matrix and we see the picture. The picture is not real. Same thing happens. The consciousness uses one of the program to create one of the form, which we call body. It also uses another programs to create another bodies inside us, like energy body, like intellect body, mind body, and bliss body. These are all the bodies inside us. And we can feel them. When we fine-tune our bodies, we can feel them. How we fine-tune these bodies? It's like this. We have a radio program. If you want to listen BBC on your radio, so you have to fine-tune your radio to listen that program. So program is there in your surrounding. Because in the studio of BBC, somebody was telling some news, which is converted into the waveform, and these waveforms are overall in a particular radius overall. And when you fine-tune your system, you can receive these waves. You can listen these programs. Similarly, the total consciousness, the super consciousness, the Godhood is overall. We are in it. And out of this, a small program, a quantum consciousness, projects something like a projector in your cinema hall, a small projector, and makes a big picture on the screen. So the picture is not real. Actually, the reality is your projector who's creating it. That is the consciousness. That is the quantum consciousness which creates all the physical world. By using these 5 elements. And where come these 5 elements? They are also projections of that superconsciousness. So from the superconsciousness comes everything. So what is real? You, or this material world, or all surrounding us? No, the superconsciousness, the total consciousness. And another point I want to say that we create our own universes. So these small quantum consciousnesses tries to create their own world. This is what happens. I think in my way. My world is like this. And you think in your way. Your world is different. Maybe I'm a person who is more busy with internal intellectual processing of thoughts, and you are more extrovert and creating new buildings, new technologies. Or maybe the other third person is just enjoying taking feed from us. He like to listen me and enjoy that conversation, or he uses the technology what the other have created. So this all is same. There are different forms of words are there, but in reality there is a one word, and that is the superconsciousness. And life is the superconsciousness. That's why Bible says, and the God created the man from the earth, and then blown his life into that form and created the first man. It's all symbolic. Similarly done by Brahma in Hindu scriptures. So actually what happens, the program in the superconsciousness creates the life. It projects like a projector and creates a build, a form. So form is not real. The program behind this is real. And now back to the question, what happens after death? So first you have to learn what is death. Death, when you are dying, is not at a point when you are dying. Death doesn't happen on that point. The process of death was started just after your birth, actually. We are just waiting to die, whether you realize it or not, whether you perceive that point or not, but we are just in a process of dying. You can name it aging. So here birth is one process, is one point on that process, and death is another point on that process. But the life is not in between these 2 points. Life goes on. Life was there before your birth, and life will be there after your death, because life is that consciousness, the quantum energy of the universe, the Holy Spirit, the Atma. So when you die, you move back to the superconsciousness, because we are in the superconsciousness. We are just part of it. And what you have done in your this lifespan, the time when you were visiting this planet, Earth, you have done some actions and reactions. So what you take with you when you die, nothing materialistic, nothing at all. Even the body, your own body, you leave it here for the nature, so nature can utilize it to make another form. The body is just a raw material with the 5 elements. So as something go out, that is your superconscious, your quantum consciousness, your Atma, your spirit. It takes these impressions of your karmas, your actions, what you have done here. And according to these actions, if you have done good actions, you come back and enjoy those fruits of these actions. And if you have done bad things, which also happens, consciously or unconsciously, you have done something wrong, then you come back to repay. for your actions. So there is no heaven after death. There is no hell after death. Everything is here in between birth and death. This is what happens. So after that, we move from this materialistic plane to another plane. We reach into the superconsciousness, or we don't reach till there, and we, due to our desires, we reborn. And when we reborn, all the desires are there, and our actions are there, due to which we reborn. You see, our actions, we don't only suffer in the time of our lifespan, we are also suffering after our death, and we are reborn, and we are suffering again. So all the suffering, Buddha says, comes from the desire. So if we leave the desire, if there is no desire anymore, so there will be no pain. So to treat your pain, your inner pain, you must loosen yourself from these desires. And what happens with the karmas? So Krishna says, when you do the karmas for yourself, then you have that ego problem, that illusion of me, only me, then you get all these problems. When you do that karma for betterment of this materialistic world, betterment of something, in the name of that superconsciousness, in this trance of that superconsciousness, in the name of that Godhood, then you are not doing your karma for yourself. You are no more there, and you don't come back to suffer. And the suffering goes off. If you meditate with the heat of that meditation, you can burn all your actions. These are the methods given by different scriptures. By the spiritual people, by the spiritual beings, not by a religious leader. All the religions born or organized after the death of the leader, the mystic. The new thoughts comes from the mystic, from the leader. But then they were utilized to create another sect, another group. If you really want to feel the superconsciousness, try to meditate in a group. When you are doing alone that meditation, you are feeling, you are perceiving only a small quantum of the superconsciousness which you have for yourself. But when you are sitting in a group, you can feel the collective consciousness. That's why in all religions they try to project this method, they try to utilize the technique of group meditation. Maybe you are singing in a church, maybe you are praying in Jerusalem, maybe you are doing prayer in a mosque, and maybe you are singing, dancing, meditating in a temple. The effect is same. You feel the trance of collective consciousness, the totality of the consciousness, but you never feel that super consciousness till now, because you're still feeling you are a separate identity from the whole world. The day you will learn that you are not separate from this table, from this stone, from this other person, from this animal, is all is a collective together one thing, you will learn. You will perceive the superconsciousness, the Godhood. Like When we are down here on earth and somebody fly above, go to the upper atmospheres and see the ball, the blue ball of earth. He doesn't see the American people fighting within the Iraqi people, or there are Talibans, or there are terrorists, or there is a world war going on through Hitler. No, they see just a nice ball. In total, Godhood, if you can perceive, is just a tranquility. All the conflicts we feel, we create, we project when we feel I'm separate from you. This all happens due to ego. When there is duality, there is fight, there is a jealousy, there is war. Always, when you feel that this is my child, this is part of me, you never kill your child. But the day you see, no, it's not my child, it's a child of my neighbor, if situation come, you can kill him. This is what the problem of ego, this is what the problem of total desiring world of misery. So that's why we are not succeeded with the organized religion till now, to vanish all the fighting, all the misery in this world, because all these religions are trying to separate one from another. They just say, if you are a Christian, you must help your neighbor Christian. If you are a Muslim, you must help your neighbor Muslim. Actually, the thought was little different. The thought was just help your neighbor. Don't feel that he is separate from you. The day we will learn that if I hurt my neighbor, first I hurt myself. The day you will perceive that, you will never hurt your neighbor. And when everybody will start thinking like this, so there will be no nations, there will be no boundaries around, there will be no imaginary lines, and people will not fight for that. The ritual sacrifices of war will stop. The killing of human beings, children, women, old people, young people, will vanish from this earth. Just we have to perceive the one point, I am not separate from you. If I think hurting you, first I am hurting myself. And this is reality. When you think something bad for some person, first you create the situation in your mind. And when you create this situation, you produce some emotional molecules in you which are not good for you. So you see, people who think negative for others, they get all the heart disease, they get all the miserable problems, sicknesses, or they get definitely psychologically sick. They are not people who can enjoy. They are in a misery. They cry. And when you really hurt somebody physically, you can't forget this. How many people, how many killers, they kill people due to one or another reason, and they cry. They get up in the night, they see blood on their hands. This happens. That's why how many soldiers go to war, they get post-war traumas, they say. It's a kind of disease these people get. Because at the war, you just kill the people because one of your high official has just commanded you kill them. And you start killing all the children, people. You feel it. Being a human being, you have that instrument in your mind, in your body, you feel it, that you are doing something wrong. And you are doing it, and after that post-war trauma you get this. To get this post-war trauma, you don't need to go to the war. Just by thinking the war, you can get this trauma also. There are so many people who are suffering from disease known as fear. They are living in good circumstances, most secure land, but still they have the fear, the internal fear. Why it's happening? This is happening because these people are sensitive people. A fear which is created surrounding us through the conditioning of social system, through the conditioning by our education system, through conditioning by our religious system. They get that fear because all these organizations are creating fear to control the particular group of people, because there are few people, due to their ego, they don't only want control over one person, over 2%, they want total control on everybody. They want to be the gods. But a quantum consciousness can't be a super consciousness. Like my hand can't be my body. It's part of my body, but it can't be my body. How a small cell of my body, even a smallest part of my body, can be my body. It remains quantum, it remains small. But if it desires to be big, it can desire to be big. That all this desire then only bring the misery. Buddha say, desires create the pain, the suffering. So that's why all the leaders, all the politicians are not happy. They are having much problem than a person who's living on the street. They are more suffering than a normal common person. So this desire must be killed. So the super consciousness is the total consciousness, and we are the quantum consciousness here. We must learn in our lifespan just one thing, that we are a part of the total consciousness, the Godhood. We must continue live our life in a normal frequency. We must not kill others, because this creates conflict. We kill each other when we see two people, when we see separation from the totality. One will perceive that we are one, then we will not kill. Nobody cut his hand like this. When we perceive this is not my hand, then we cut it. This is the basic rule. So there is no darkness after death. Life continues. It's just a cycle. Birth and death are the 2 points.